Wayne's World. Good morning, Wayne. How are you?
Good morning. How you doing, guys?
I'm doing good. I love the alt angle of your Skype window this morning. I get the wide view of you at your desk taking notes.
I'm best seen from a
Pajamas.
distance.
Did you see the jam jams, Butchie, on Wayne?
I didn't know. You got jam jams?
Yeah. Stand up. Show them to us. Don't worry. It's not going out over the air. Come on, Wayne. They're like lounge pants, basically.
Oh, I like
we can't
that.
see that. You got to
yeah,
back up.
those are probably. Oh, yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Yes.
The checkered Packer green flannels.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Never sacrifice comfort when you're working at home. Our conversation with Wayne Larrivee brought to you by Steam Fitters Local 601. Learn more by visiting steam601.org and by the National Fire Sprinklers Association. Visit them at nfsa.org. All right, I'll get right to it. Are you Devontae positive about a possible return?
That I think he's returning.
Would you be in favor of it? Let me put it that way.
Oh, I would be in favor of it. I just don't.
You would.
I really question whether it's going to happen.
Okay. Is there a price that you would say, okay, wait a minute, we're out?
Well, I think the only way the Packers get involved is if Devontae is out there as a free agent. Okay. So the Jets would have to absorb whatever it is with the contract and go from there. And the Packers would make a deal with Devontae, that would be favorable to them.
So a fifth rounder, which is what the Commanders gave up for Debo, is too much, in your opinion?
Yeah, I would say so. And I think that's kind of risky. There was talk Debo might be a target of the Packers as well. Again, here's a guy with over 200 rushing attempts in addition to the passes he's caught. He's got a lot of mileage on that body. San Francisco's willing to give up on him because, quite frankly, he's starting to get injured. And when you start to get injured in the NFL, you continue to get injured. It doesn't go away.
Right. Well, but Devontae is, I think, healthier than Debo by a good measure.
Devontae makes sense for a lot of reasons. He's been here. Some of these receivers have worked with him. They know him. He would fit the locker room, okay? He would definitely add to the locker room in the intangible aspect of it. He can still play, don't get me wrong, on the field, but he would also add, I think, to the locker room from an intangible standpoint. And that's no small factor in all of these personnel decisions, guys. It comes down to this in the end. They make a determination, and I know this is how the Packers have done it since Ron Wolf, obviously, especially Ted Thompson. There were a lot of players that could have played for the Packers, but Ted just didn't feel like they fit the locker room. They fit the what they were looking for in terms of culture. So that's a big part of it. But Devontae would answer those factors. Now, how much does he have left in the tank? I think he's still pretty good. I mean, he's okay. Yeah, I think he could come in and make a huge difference.
So here's the relative prices. Andrew Siciliano, formerly of the Red Zone channel, now voice of the Browns, said notable wideout trades in the last 12 months. Debo for a fifth, Mike Williams for a fifth, Hopkins for a fifth, Jerry Jeudy for a fifth and a sixth. The Cowboys went and got Jonathan Mingo from the Panthers and gave up a fourth to get him. They also included a seventh. Devontae went for a third when he went from the Raiders to the Jets. Amari Cooper and a sixth were traded for a third and a seventh. Diggs plus a fifth and a sixth got a second rounder in return. And then there was the Jahan Dotson deal before the season from the Commanders to the Eagles, where they sent Jahan plus a fifth for a third and a seventh, whatever. I mean, you don't get a lot for these used wide receivers.
Well, and some of that, when you talk about trade, you're talking about the contract you're taking over.
Yes.
And that's a factor in how much someone's willing to give up for a receiver to take on that contract on their salary cap. So there are a lot of factors involved, but veteran receivers. And the other thing is, guys, let's understand the college game is producing a lot of receivers who are ready to step in and play right away.
We've seen that. I mean, you've seen it in Jacksonville with their wide receiver, Brian Thomas Jr. You saw with Neighbors and with the Giants. Now then that leads to the question of, do the Packers feel like there's a wide receiver that they can draft high enough with where they're at to have an impact? Because that's been the concerns with the draft is, well, all the good wide receivers, they're gone by the time the Packers are drafting.
Yeah, I mean that's a good question, and will they move up in the draft? And well, people have to understand that we don't have this year 12 picks. You know what I mean? Like
Correct. Yeah, the
in the past,
Capitals
we have
7, right? There's
picks.
7 of them, right, Wayne? 7?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And I believe Goody said he wants more.
yeah, I think
Well, I want more too.
But he said he
always
wants more,
more.
Butchie, as if he plans to make a move to get
Correct.
more.
Yeah.
I would assume he will. I mean, he always
Trade
kind of
that.
has, right?
And that kind of means you're going to trade back at some point in the draft to get more draft picks. So whether you do it with a first or second round or even a third rounder, I mean, that's how you get more draft picks. Generally, you trade back unless, somebody gets a player from you and you make a deal that way and they send you draft picks. But it's going to be
So this is a
interesting
dumb
to see.
question. Wayne, this is a dumb question, but I'm going to ask it. With the draft being in Green Bay, having it there, does that change at all the approach of the draft of the
They already
move
said
back?
they have permission. Was
I
it
know,
Murphy who said that Goody has permission?
You know what I mean? Like, there's people out there that think this. I think it's dumb. That's why I said I think it's a dumb question, but I'm going to ask it because I've been asked it out and about in the grocery store and wherever else 3 or 4 different times. Well, the Packers are for sure drafting the first round. I was like, well, nothing's for sure.
Yeah, no. And I know just from observing how they do things, that is not going to be a stipulation. I mean, Goody's not going to be handcuffed to have to make a first-round draft choice. If he gets a good deal to move back out of the first round that first day, he'll be able to do it. He'll do it.
Oh, wait a minute. I was thinking about trading that first for a live body, a player like a Max Crosby. You're talking about
I'm talking about trading back
for
out of it to get
for
picks. That's
additional
what
picks.
You'd say something.
When we're hosting the party,
yes, I
that'd be
can
like the
easily
host of the
see that
party
happening.
showing up late because he's finishing up his round of golf
and going to bed early.
Where's the host? He's still golfing. He'll be here in a bit.
If you can get Max Crosby and you had to give up your first round pick,
Done.
There would be a tremendous celebration at the draft by Packers people and fans. Tremendous celebration. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's doable. But hey, if it was,
I think it's more likely they trade out of the first and get more picks. That's if I had to pick. That's what I think is more likely to happen.
Yeah, and it depends on how that first round goes. I mean, if the players they like in the first round are picked over and gone, then why not? And so I understand from a PR standpoint, probably not the best thing. You're hosting the draft and you're not even making a first round pick. I get that. But in the context of, hey, this is a draft, this is how we're building the team, you can't just throw away we're hosting the draft, so we're going to broker our whole draft to make sure we're picking in the first round.
So I want to pivot to the international series of games and how Murphy said, look, we're going to have to really be ready to be playing over there or somewhere internationally, at least every other year, maybe more. Did that surprise you? And how do you feel about it in general?
No, based on what I've heard around the NFL, is it's coming to a point once we go to the 18-game schedule, and that's not when, it's not if, it's when they go to the 18-game schedule. I think everybody's going to be playing games, in Europe, probably if maybe once a year, if not every other year. So I think that's something they're prepared for. There's no doubt, and there's a chance they could play in Ireland this year. We'll see, but it'd be kind of cool. I think you're going to have to, as an NFL team, as a coaching staff, is be at a point where you can prepare your team to do that successfully. I think there's a trick to it, and basically building up to it, whatever it is. But I think that's going to become a component of your schedel almost every year, or at least every other year.
What's the trick?
What's the trick?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
the Packers haven't figured it out.
Well, LaFleur has been openly hostile to the whole thing.
Correct.
Whether they express it or not, football or coaching staffs, I think players, it's never easy. It's never good. They're not in favor of all this international stuff.
Right.
Why? Because
nor should they be.
It's tough. It's tough on them. That's who it's tough on. It's not tough on us following the team. It's not tough on the front office people with the clients and everybody, the entertaining you can do. That's wonderful. It's a great trip. But for the football people in the middle of a football season, trying to win a game, then you got to hustle back and get ready for the next game. Hey, Butchie's been an athlete. That type of stuff is not easy.
Travel matters, Zabe. Travel matters, Zabe.
Okay. All right, but let's not bury the lead. What's the trick, Wayne? You said there's a trick to it.
I think it's a whole mentality type of thing. I mean, you got to have your team ready mentally and spiritually as well as physically to make that trip.
But
you got
not a trick, Wayne. You implied there's a trick. I want to hear the trick. Go early, pack light. What is it? I want to win these games.
I think what you do is you go early. Early would mean you're there on Tuesday for a game in Europe on maybe Saturday or Sunday. I think you go in on Thursday and you get there. You got a day
prep with you.
Yeah.
Prep on site, no matter how good or bad the field is, they give you to do whatever work you got to do. Be there early. Put all your clothes in the drawers, which is something that some people don't do. But do you unload all your clothes into drawers when you go to a hotel, even for one night?
No, I don't use drawers. I'm a big no drawers guy.
No drawers guy. Okay, Wayne, what about you?
I don't go to drawers. No, I don't know what people will put in those drawers for one thing.
Yeah, bingo. Thank you.
And I know the cleanup staff doesn't take care of the drawers. They don't bother with that.
You don't want to take a black light to the drawers to see what.
You don't want to. Wait, here's my thing. The NBA, they travel a lot, coast to coast. Flights, if you're going from the West Coast to the East Coast, we've seen a lot of these NBA teams take the day off. Right, more or less. We've recently, you covered it when the Bulls didn't take days off. There were no days off with crazy travel schedules. Now the NFL is putting that in play based on how far you're going with the body clock as far as the time difference changes overseas. Are we going to see that one team play overseas, the next game, a week, body clock, injury rate, all this other stuff happens, that we're going to see less players playing? I think we will.
Interesting. I don't know. I mean, like load management, players getting load management days off?
I think there'll be a load management NFL style. Do you know what? Like if there's any doubt of an injury, any doubt. I mean, I'm talking about if there's a tight hamstring, we're not going to put them out there. I think we're trending that way in the NFL. I really do. Because of what they're asking the players to do.
There's too few games and it matters too much.
18 of them.
And we in the media harangue every player to try.
Do the Packers not already do this somewhat? I mean, the Packers are very conservative cautious when it comes to injuries.
They are.
Yeah. They are. Well, I don't know, Butchie. But to answer Zabe's question, I think the trick is you there's a train of thought. Let's just go as late as we can. There's no such thing as body clock. We just get there, we play the game, we come home. Okay, that apparently doesn't work very well.
No, it doesn't.
Getting there too early doesn't as well. Guys get held up in a hotel room for 4 or 5 days. By the end of the 4 or 5 days, Larry McCarron has said this to me many times. He said, when we did those things, like we'd go out to Arizona in May for a mini camp thing, and by the 4th or 5th day, everybody's cranky and nobody wants to be with anyone else. So it has a detrimental impact. There's a certain part of that. I think you split it. You go in on Thursday. I thought the Packers did it right when they played the Giants, okay? And by the way, they were leading, I believe, by double digits at halftime. That game got screwed up in the second half, and that season went down the toilet as a result. But I don't think it had anything to do with the travel. I think they were well prepared, and I think they were on – they should have beaten the Giants and blown them out that day, and they didn't for whatever reason. But I don't think it has anything to do with the travel. They did it right.
Our quarterback has gotten hurt on the last Hail Mary of each of these international games. Jordan Love and Rodgers. Rodgers' thumb got busted up, and he kind of downplayed it, but then later on we found out it was broken, and that affected him. I don't know if that was the last play, but it was one of the last plays.
Yeah, it was one of the last plays, And then
we shall see the league's expansion and their global domination, Wayne. Knows no bounds.
But for us, and this is all about me, obviously, media begins with me. A trip to Ireland, not a bad idea, I mean, the Guinness is lukewarm. And
Dennis is
you know,
flowing.
You gonna bring the
Maybe a
clubs?
round of golf or two.
could bring the clubs. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things you can do. Especially
Go to the Jameson factory.
If we
I
can
mean,
convince
me and Zabe will have a tea time set up with you. Me and Zabe will have a
let's
tea
go a
time
month
set up
in
with you.
advance.
We're going, right, Zabe?
Listen, if the Packers play the Steelers in Dublin, which is a rumor, then we're going to find a way to go. And Wayne will go to the Jameson factory for a tour, get some samples. We'll play Royal Portmarnock. I know a guy there, a caddy that worked. You know, he probably has no pull, but we'll get on. You know, it's a pretty swank place.
Yeah, I played that.
Great
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I just got to get my expenses in from New Orleans, which I'm apparently late for.
It ain't happening.
Yeah. All right, Wayne, as always, a pleasure, my friend. You called, by the way, Purdue and UCLA on Friday. How was it?
Oh, it was great. I mean, Mackey Arena might be the best college basketball experience in the country. It was just awesome. The students show up early, and they are a force. They're lined up. They're on either baseline, and it's a tight little arena. We were upstairs at National Radio. We were up as high as you can be, and it was still a great seat for the game. It was great. And Matt Painter is an unbelievable coach. UCLA had no business losing that game, and Matt Painter basically took it away from him from a strategical standpoint. It was very good.
Purdue won by 10, which has got to send Mick Cronin into a further orbit of despair at this point. This guy, high-strung. All right, Wayne, is always a pleasure.
A little tense, as you would say.
Little tense.
You know? Oh, I can't believe it. Onions.
Wayne Larrivee, our